Hey guys, so today I wanted to give you 6 quick tips about choosing your niche for your blog. So the first tip is one that you've probably heard quite a few times, and that is choose a niche that you are interested in. It doesn't have to be a hobby necessarily, but it does have to be something that you at least have a mild interest in and that you don't, or that you wouldn't mind writing dozens of blog posts about, maybe even hundreds of blog posts. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your niche. Choose something that at least strikes somewhat of an interest with you. Number two is to definitely choose a niche with at least some commercial potential. And what I mean by that is choose a niche that has plenty of products surrounding it. You can't just choose a 100%, well, I take that back. You can choose a 100% informational niche, but you're limiting yourself to just ads. And that is okay in many cases. I actually have a few niche sites that are just monetized by ads and don't really have any commercial potential like that. But I wish I had done it differently so I could at least open up a category or something that would allow me to promote some products and at least talk about some products so that advertisers will be a little more enthusiastic about putting ads on my site, and it would increase my RPM quite a bit. And having multiple monetization methods on a site is really the best way to go. So you do want some commercial potential there, as well as plenty of potential for informational articles as well. And number three is make sure there's plenty of search volume. No, it doesn't have to be like millions of searches a month, but uh, if you've chosen a niche and your primary keyword for the entire niche gets, 1,000 searches a month, chances are you're not going to end up with enough traffic on that website to really do much in terms of growing it into the future, unless you later on discover some shoulder niches or categories you can open up. Just make sure when you're choosing your niche that there is some interest around it. One thing I do is go to Facebook and see if there's a bunch of Facebook groups about the hobby or activity. You can look on Google Trends. There are things like that you can do to make sure there's enough volume surrounding the niche that you've chosen for you to, put your time into it. Number four is make sure that it's not too competitive. And there are many ways you can judge the competitiveness of a niche. And the easiest is to just start Googling some of the top keywords within your niche. Obviously, we want to steer clear of any YMYL niches, which is your money, your life. So finance, health, fitness, stuff like that. If you're a professional and you've done this many times, then you can probably maybe break into that niche or one of those niches. But if you're brand new and you're choosing your very first niche ever, steer clear of those. Even if you want to choose a hobby or activity like camping or hiking, those niches are very, very saturated, but you can still break in if you come in at a different angle than your competitors. Number five is choose a good domain. And you don't have to choose the best domain ever. Just make sure you don't choose one that boxes you in later on so that you can't expand into other categories, for instance. One of my niche sites in a previous video I did, I believe it was niche site number 4. When I chose the domain, I put the letters of a state, of a U.S. state, in the domain. So I was boxed into that niche within that state. Whereas if I just left out the letters of the state, I could have gone into every single state in the U.S. So it boxed me in that way, and I pretty much had to let that site just die, and I moved a lot of content onto other sites. So when you're choosing a domain, make sure that you choose one that allows you to expand in the future. Let's say you're doing a very specific category of camping, like car camping. Instead of choosing carcampinghub.com, just do, obviously campinghub.com is going to be taken, but just choose campinghub.com and have a category for car camping. That allows you to expand your site into all manner of categories, and that is really the way you want to go. Choose a general domain, and within that general domain you can stay pretty specific right at first, but once you're ready, then you can expand. Another tip I'll give you is to just go ahead and get a .com domain. I've seen many people be successful with .co, .net, .org, pretty much all of them, even .blog and some of the newer ones. But .com is just something that people recognize, and if you tell them the name of your site, they're going to immediately try and find it as a .com. So even if it means that you have to have an extra word in your domain, I still suggest choosing a .com. Number 6 is don't niche down too much. And you'll often hear people say, oh, you need to niche down, niche down. In some ways that's good, but you can also kind of cut yourself off at the knees there if you niche down too much. Especially, this goes back to number 5, if you choose a domain name and you chose the domain name with that in mind, then you have already kind of ruined your chances of expanding there, because you can't expand outside of the domain that you chose, if that makes sense. So when you're kind of making your entire plan for your niche site, you can niche down right at first, but also keep in mind that you may want to expand beyond that once you get a decent base of content on your site. If you've already gotten up 50 posts about a certain niche within a niche, you may want to go beyond that. And if you're cornered in with a very specific domain name or something like that, then niching down is not necessarily a good thing. Okay, so that's about it for these quick tips. I hope you found them helpful. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed already. Appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.